Why we now head to what is trending in the print media. I have the New Vision, Felix has the Daily Nation and the Daily Monitor. Let's look at what is on the front page this morning. While unscrupulous officials had put relatives on the payroll. Which payroll? That is 5,000 ghosts struck off pension payroll. The question is, who's been arrested? Still looking at the New Vision, Cheptegei wins love race. That is Olympics gold medalist Joshua Cheptegei and Karo Yeko Kamari danced during their traditional wedding ceremony. Still, the New Vision looks at education this morning, and there is Senior 2 and Senior 3 work for you. That is biology, literature, chemistry, mathematics, and physics. But we also look at security, where 8 more held over city bobs. That is security at its best. Don't hike fees. School head stalled. How practical is this? Well, the New Vision has an insight, and of course this could be your dream opportunity, because there are over 220 jobs in there for you. The Judicial Service Commission, Ubos Education Development Center, these are some of the areas you look into. The judiciary to recruit 113 judges and magistrates. Justice delayed, justice denied, but hope this will expedite the justice for those that are seeking for justice with more staffing in the judiciary. Yes, Felix.
And in the Daily Monitor, first COVID jabs for MPs spark uproar. And of course, yesterday we also saw the commemoration of Kampala Catholic Archdiocese marking 55 years. Now, NMG EU to unveil mobile-friendly monitor website. And universities reopen today for learners. Government lists at least 2022-2023 financial year priorities. Now, of course, also in health and living, early detection helped Shafan beat acute leukemia. Also today, again, COVID vaccination, Ugandans struggle to access certificate, and Taliban leader makes first public appearance. But also today in history, Obote appoints Chibida Ango Bank of Uganda boss, and European Union goes into effect.
In the New Vision, we look at today in history. It was on the 1st of November 1999 when NEMA approved Bujagali Dam project. Still on the same date, but the year 1995, South Africans cast last vote to freedom. Looking at the COVID-19 tracker for Uganda's case in particular, new confirmed cases stand at 96. We look at positivity rate, it is 1.9%. Death, no death was registered. Total deaths so far stand at 3,215. Once again, please go and get that jab so that we can fight severe illness, hospitalization, and death when we are vaccinated. But also perfect the soaps. What do you have to do? Wash your hands often with soap and water. Maintain social distance of at least 2 meters. Avoid touching yourself before washing your hands with soap and water. Then also we'll gear up to World AIDS Day. Know your status. That is a call there of the New Vision story today. Do you know your HIV status? Please go and find out. The earlier, the better you can access treatment in case you're positive. If you're negative, stay negative.
Now in sports, Onyango set penalty saves world record. Wow. This guy yesterday stopped 5 penalties out of 7. Sorry, on Saturday. It was quite a beautiful one, looking at a Ugandan break a world record. I guess this guy would go into the Guinness Book of Records there. But of course, Ugandan up 1 place in that is the top 20 ranking, and Mukala's running high on confidence now. Onyango's heroic helps Sundowners to cap triumph. Now KCCA set early pace as referees gaff dwarf goal test in Wankulukuku there, and Uganda 1 place after Kigali harvest. Now Uganda that is a exercise 15-year jinx, that is for the rugby lovers.
And looking at the New Vision Sport, a very interesting picture there. That is our gold medalist and the ceremony that happened his traditional wedding ceremony there. It is gold also when it comes to their marital status. Now, we also look at Chelsea on the summit and she cranes for big time. What are they referring to? More in the new vision. But don't forget, Ruben will be here to give you all the updates in the world of sports and those interesting stories regarding the sports arena. So do not miss our sports update shortly.
Now also in the Daily Nation, the unlikely Kingmaker Party has advised Kalonzo to cast his lot with winning team than standing alone. Of course, ahead of the 2022 elections, Ruto alleges use of blackmail and intimidation to influence the election. Now, of course, also climate action standing up to be counted. That's key for the people there in Kenya. And much of that you'll be looking at leaders from northern Kenya revamp UDM for 2022, and Raila's big deal there awaits. But of course, much still in the papers for you. Just get yourself copies of the dailies and you'll be able to see and read what's happening. But of course, we also want to take you through the traffic updates as you're hitting the road on this first day of November with Priscilla.
Well, thank you so much, Felix Nkunda. We do have 19 minutes to 8 a.m. this Monday morning. We want to look at traffic and how it's looking like, especially for people that are coming in from Masaka Road and also Mitiana Road, which then comes to join the Kampala Northern Highway. On the Bulenga area code, which is on Mitiana Road, you get to see that there's a lot of traffic jam that is coming up from this area. And where exactly is it picking it up from? Well, exactly around Forest Park is where this traffic jam is starting from, or where you do have the Office of the National Water and Sewage Corporation on Mitiana Road. That's where the traffic is building up in the area code of Bulenga on Mitiana Road, and that is spreading all the way into the Kampala Northern Bypass or highway for that matter. Obviously, also on Masaka Road, you do have stretches of traffic jam right from Chengeda Trading Center, and those get to build up traffic jam heading into what is known as Busega Roundabout. Looking at Busega Roundabout this morning, you do have a lot of red lines coming through, connecting right from the Kampala Northern Bypass, people that are coming in from the other side of maybe Sentema Road or coming in from Waise, and connecting using the bypass and trying to get into the area code of Busega. There's a lot of traffic jam, and of course that interaction is also being delayed by the traffic that is coming in from Masaka Road, and so there is a lot of stoppage traffic right now, which is moving rather very slowly away from the Busega roundabout, entering into Natete. Still the traffic jam is there. Of course, in this area code you do have what is known as the taxi center, so it's also bringing in traffic and causing a lot of delays on the route and going into Wakadiga Road. But then also you get to see that past Busega Market, we want to see the interaction of all this traffic with the Kampala Northern Bypass. And following the Kampala Northern Bypass, it becomes clear up until we get to interact with Masanafu Road on Sentema Road, crossing through the Kampala Northern Bypass. And that is also giving you indicators of traffic from Sentema roundabout or Masanafu roundabout entering onto Sentema Road, then getting you into the likes of Rubaga Division. Now that traffic jam is surely going to be a lot this morning. You do have a lot of traffic that is being reflected into some parts of Rubaga Division. You do have Albert Cook, which is around Mengo Hospital, that is indicating a lot of traffic coming in from Wakadiga Road, which is a connecting route right from the Natete Trading Center traffic lights, and it connects you to Albert Cook Road, and then connects you into the heart of downtown Kampala through Bakuli and then Old Kampala Road. And so there's a lot of traffic for all the intersection roads in there. You have Chitakure Road that is bringing traffic that is going to be be affected. Of course, you do have all these other places that contribute to the traffic. So basically, where there's any cross section of roads, you are expecting to see a lot of traffic. Rubaga Road and its roundabout is also having heavy traffic this morning, and that is for traffic especially heading into the likes of Bakuli and downtown Kampala. You do have the social center village. This is downtown Chisenyi, which is also having a lot of reflection in terms of traffic heading into the lower parts of Kampala, or downtown Kampala for that matter. You also do have Katwe. Because of the continued construction of the Kampala flyover, you are seeing a lot of traffic jam that is going to be experienced every single morning until the construction works are fully done between Chibuye, Katwe and into the heart of the city, and also Chisenyi. These areas are continuously going to be having a lot of traffic jam because every now and again there's diversionary routes. Of course, there are pillars that are being put up on the side of Entebbe Road into Chibuye. There's also pillars that are coming out on Zambia Road, and so those are being put up, and they are contributing to the diversionary routes that are being created. Of course, if we are to come back around Lubiri, you get to see the ring road there. It doesn't have so much traffic jam as of this morning, up until the only interaction with Katwe, which is Mutebi Road, is where you're seeing the traffic building up because of the slow traffic in Katwe coming in from Chibuye connecting to downtown Kampala, or former Shoprite area code. So pretty much that's what the traffic is looking like all the way from Busega and interacting with downtown Kampala. Molen Kenyana continues with the conversation of COP26 and how it's actually going to be influencing on matters, especially where Africa is concerned, and climate resolutions to be expected out of this conference. Good morning to you once again, Molen.
Yes, good morning to you, Priscilla, and thank you so much for taking us through those traffic updates. Well, we'll continue more talks on COP26, and I can tell you it is already a heated conversation as world leaders converge for the summit that is looked at as one of the crucial ones. Now, we are talking about 2020 and 2021. This marks a decade where we're looking at critically what COP will be doing in terms of what is likely to happen when we talk about adaptation, and more of what is expected out of this conference. Now, we did see the Indian Prime Minister also arriving yesterday, and also President Joe Biden already joining the world leaders there. Also President Emmanuel Macron from France, and most of the world leaders within the G20 are already in Glasgow talking about climate action. Now, today we'll see mostly we are looking at the state of climate globally, and we'll be looking at the report that was given out by the World Meteorological Organization that is talking about so far the past 7 years being on record as the warmest years. Now, that is since the pre-industrial revolution. We're talking about years that are looked at that could actually bend the curve. Now, when we talk about COP26 especially, we are hailing from the fact that we did have the first conference of parties to come up with a legal action that is talking about the Paris Agreement in 2015. Now, Paris Agreement did come through from the conference within Paris, France, that brought about a target which is looked at as 1.5 degrees Celsius target. We are still on that pathway. But what is critical about this year's COP26, or the 26th Conference of Parties, is that ever since we came out with that Paris Agreement in 2015, there hasn't been more action to look at that pathway that was set by the Paris Agreement. Now, world leaders are looking at most of the scenarios that could actually lead us to that path, because the reports that are actually coming out right now, even from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, from the World Meteorological Organization, from all these climate scientists, indicate that we have gone over that pathway. We are already at 2 degrees Celsius. So what is critical at this event is that we will be setting new determined goals to look at what can be done, especially reducing our emissions to net zero. And also yesterday we did go through the summit that was going on with the G20 countries in Italy, looking at their commitments, and they have all agreed that they are willing to look at that pathway, especially reducing carbon emissions, and that is much of what we're expecting from them. Also, COP26 is looked at as one of the summits that should be able to explain what we are going to do. Now, the UK was the first to submit as the host. Anyway, they did something nice. They were the first to submit what they are willing to do, and that is renewable energy. A picture that they did front is a woman looking at ahead on putting up a solar panel, and that is what they are committing to, putting up more renewable energy. That is, they are willing to tap into the solar energy, they're willing to tap into wind energy, and I think that is setting a goal of what other countries can look at and also be able to do. And also one other thing that is being looked at, especially for developing countries, and Uganda falls in that category, is adaptation. Because we have been dealing with extreme weather events, from flooding to droughts, but what can be done, especially for countries that have little resources to control climate change? We can only adapt. But so what is the plan? Now, a few days ago, we did see countries coming up, especially the rich countries, coming up to measure up to their promises. They did tell us they will be giving $100 billion to the developing countries, most vulnerable countries. So how this fund is supposed to be used, one of the key sectors that are looked at is adaptation. If we can have a way that even when these extreme events come, we can adapt to them, we have a safe way to live with these extremes. And that is one thing that also the COP26 is going to be looking at. Now, that is the UNFCCC Convention Secretary, that is Patricia Espinosa. She did open up the event yesterday, and in her speech, actually, she emphasized about the fact that climate change is really on the political agenda, and when we have politicians, the presidents, the ministers, we actually here in Uganda we did have our delegation led by the Minister of Water and Environment. So these are politicians still over there, and they are capable of making more decisions when it comes to what we can do about climate change. Now, the focus of this year's COP26 is going to be mostly on net zero. When we talk about net zero, what is involved has been summarized within this image right here. Now, most of that is looking at electric vehicles. Now, if we can go ahead and devise ways of having vehicles that won't be emitting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, that is the one key factor that is looked at within this COP26. Now, also to the extreme end, there is solar energy. We have to move towards creating more solar panels that can be like plants to generate more electricity, and that will put us on a pathway to enough renewable energy. Also, the wind energy is one of those things that are looked at in our move to net zero. We look at the ocean, how we are actually managing our marine life. There is a lot of sea level rise. Actually, also the report that the WMO is releasing today indicates that we have more sea level rise in this decade than we've seen before. So that is something that also COP26 is looking at. Now, today we'll be fronting mostly talking about the state of global climate, that is 2021. WMO has given out a provisional report, but also in this report is what covers the 7 years that we have as the warmest on record. Now, there is a lot of anticipation in COP26, but we will be giving you details. There are going to be 2 weeks of critical discussions and resolutions, so we will be giving you more updates with regard to COP26 as to when they come through. But this morning we want to look at how the weather is looking like in terms of our satellite over Uganda. We did start off mostly with cloudy skies, that is across the western sector of the country, but also northern Uganda Eastern Uganda, still having mostly sunny skies. They did start off with sunny conditions, but even for now, they are still having a sunny morning. Although we're seeing rainy conditions over the islands of Lake Victoria. Now that rainy system is still developing, and most likely it will be coming through towards central Lake Victoria Basin. That is where we have Kampala, we do have Entebbe, Wakiso, that area. Can expect to have mostly rainy conditions as the morning progresses. We already see that system also headed westwards, and that will be affecting mostly the western part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Masaka. That area can also expect to have wet weather activities as the morning progresses. We have more cloudy conditions that are starting to develop across the southwestern part of the country. That could also be clearing, and we will be looking at more of the rainy conditions coming in later in the afternoon. But for now, most areas are actually dealing with intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. We'll go ahead and take a look at our forecast for different areas across the country for this morning. Well, starting off with the eastern part of Lake Victoria, the eastern part of central part of the country, where we have Ruwero, we have Woblenzi, Bururi and Nakaseke, we are forecasting sunny intervals, starting off with a warm morning at 27 degrees centigrade, but that area can expect rainy conditions later in the afternoon. Now we look at southwestern Uganda, where we have Mbarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi and Rubirizi. We are forecasting isolated showers. Those will be coming through, starting off at 25 degrees centigrade, quite cold over there, but we also expect that system to continue into the afternoon. We're looking at the central part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Kampala, we have Ruwero, we have Mukono, Entebbe, Wakiso. We are forecasting isolated showers, starting off with a cold 25 degrees centigrade. We will be seeing those rains coming through as the morning progresses, but also that is likely to clear as we head into the afternoon. Well, more talk still about COP26 coming in through Twitter. Most of the people that are actually being involved within these conversations, we have seen mostly the talks today are about the climate status of the world, where we're looking at the 7 most hottest years on record, and we will be giving you more of those updates during our programming here at Good Morning Uganda. Well, my name is Molin Kenyana. I will be leaving you at that, but we do have Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up. Robert will be here to take you through that, and after we'll have sports updates from Ruben. Well, for now, have a good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by Tulantende ku program obulamu was brought to you by.
Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Almighty God, this is the time we want to thank you very much for having gathered us here. Here we are in the breaking of this ground to make a factory in it. So Lord, may we ask your presence to be here. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I pray.
Amen. In the name of Uganda, I break the ground.